What's up, everyone? Johnny Salmon here, back on the Fitness in Business podcast today. And you know what? I don't even know how to pronounce your last name, but it's Tim Quabba.
Quabba. Yeah,
Quabba.
Quabba.
There we go.
It's
I've never
it's
said your
hard.
last name out loud, so there we go,
Yeah.
mate. Thanks for jumping on the show today.
No, not a problem. Appreciate obviously you reaching out and asking me. I know we've had what it's been 2 years.
At least.
The friendly chats passing by in the gym, and it's always been more so around just rather than just a hey, just what's going on, what are you working towards, what are you working on, sort of thing. So
Yeah, for
always
sure.
appreciated that.
Yeah, likewise, mate. And and for anyone listening, you can understand how in a what would you call it, like a mega gym style thing where there's just thousands of members, heaps of equipment, lots of people coming and going, relationships can be hard to form, and there's often that just like passing mentality where people walk around flexing and throwing weights around, not really engaging. But Tim and myself, we're people that will like to chat with others and have little chats and kind of try and build a bit of a vibe and a culture, which probably led to us chatting today.
Yeah, it's
So
always nice. It's always nice to have familiar faces, but then have a little bit more of a connection with the familiar faces. So I know
for
there's a
sure.
there's a fair few of us in the morning that we all have a chat and say good day, which is always nice. And it knows that in the back of your mind, if you show up, you'll know that you'll see someone there, and potentially
Yeah,
that could saying good day could just make you or them have a better day, sort of thing.
100%, dude. Big time. I agree. Mate, so if you're new to the show, fitness and business is about getting people performing, well, fit and strong in body and mind, right? So most of our listeners are business owners or they work for a business, but they treat it like their own. They care. They show up there, like we were just talking before. They're not just doing their 38 hours, 38.5 hours and buggering off home to watch Netflix or play video games. They're people that are dialed in, they're trying to make progress, and they're wondering how to stay fit and strong while they do that. And so if you've just landed on here, welcome. You're going to learn something today. The reason I invited Tim onto the podcast is because, like you said, probably 2.5 years, I'm a face-to-face personal trainer at a local gym of mine. Tim trains at that gym. We always say g'day, have a bit of chats and things like that, but he's always there between 5 and 7 a.m. or 5 and 6:30 a.m., like 5-6 days a week, hitting the weights, playing basketball, working hard. And so we connected on social media. And so I like bringing people on that I can see don't just talk the talk, but they walk the walk, because there's always lessons and there's always, things to share from the journey. So, Tim, for anyone listening, just a little bit of background would be great to ice break and just share a bit about what you do day to day, work-wise, sport-wise, and training-wise. Just like your 2 to 3 minute elevator pitch on who you are
Ah,
and what do you do.
okay. So I'm 27 years old, just turned last month now. I'm a mortgage broker working for a small business, so not big corporate. You get a sense of and a feel for the place, and you feel like your voice matters. So going back to having that feeling that it's sort of your own.
Mm,
Um, and then I've been in the business 3 years now. We've had a lot of growth, and it's been a great journey the last 3 years, and just keen to sort of continue that and grow that. And then fitness wise, yeah, play basketball now a couple of times a week. Pretty social at the minute, but just play with a bunch of my mates. So it's another reason to just
mm,
catch up with them once a week, once or twice a week, stay fit, keep the mind right, socialize at the same time.
for
And it's
sure.
good you don't have any training sessions, anything like that. So you just rock up, play, have a chat, and go home. And
Awesome.
then guess just always like to, like we were saying before, test the boundaries, and always getting out of my comfort zone, I guess, in sort of
Mm,
the fitness space. So I always like to try and do a few events a year, and really challenge myself. So last year I completed my first full marathon, which
awesome.
was, yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. I couldn't walk for 6 days after, and I didn't think I'd be that sore. But had a goal in my mind, beat that goal by 10 minutes, and it was such a
That's
fulfilling
awesome.
moment at the
What'd
end.
you run?
I did 3:20 in the end, 3
Good
hours and
on
20
you. That's
minutes.
great.
So I wanted the 3:30. So I was very stoked. But it was, once again, it was 6 months of running 4 times a week, trying to play basketball, trying to weight train 3 to 4 times a week. And it was
Yeah,
honestly a
man.
blur. But enjoyed the journey so much. And then I think we're going to sign up and do another one later in the year.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and
So I've just
then
done some quick maths for anyone listening. Correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere around the 5 minute Ks, maybe
uh,
just under.
4:45
I knew
per
you'd correct me. Yeah,
yeah
like
was the split.
that
And
is moving for 42 kilometers. That is
uh,
no wonder you were sore for 6 days.
yeah, and at the best part of 100 kilos too. So
Yeah,
not the average marathon runner weight. But like I said, it was such a good experience. Went down with four of my mates, ran it with one of my best mates. That are also, we've done high rocks together, we've done tough mudders together, we've done Spartans together. So
mm.
doing it with him as well was a really good experience.
That's so good, man. That is moving, right? Like that's
Mhm.
really cool. So, mate, thanks for the background. That's really cool. And so, tell us, how did your fitness journey start? I've got a bit of an idea, but for anyone
Mhm.
listening, how did it start?
Mhm. Well, it's funny. It wasn't all playing sport and
Running
marathon running.
marathons? Yeah.
I guess no, it didn't start like that. It was quite opposite. So I guess all through primary school, growing up, was always loved sports. Like
Mm.
early memories, it would be dad, my brother watching the footy growing up. From age 5, 6, and any sport I could play growing up, wanted to try it. Did AFL, cricket, soccer, rugby. Played rugby league for 8 years as well. So yeah, just was always active. Was always wanted to be outside. Would always annoy my siblings. Oh, you want to go to the park? You want to go do this? Would drive them mad. Um, and then I guess sort of got into teenage years, like early high school, would have been 13, 14. Started to get really big into gaming. And that's where sort of the more unhealthy habits started to stack. So happened to, instead of going out and seeing friends at the park and going to kick the footy, it was you go to school and then come home, and then I'd go play Xbox, make sure all my homework's done, so then my parents can't say no because I've done all the other things.
Mm.
And I wanted to have that time to game, really. And sort of the person, when I set my mind to something or I get fixated on something, I want to be the best at, and I want to be really good at it. And
Mm.
gaming was one of those things where you know I could easily sit there, play for, if it was on the weekends, I could sit there and play for 10 hours at a time and just not
Yeah,
blink an
wow.
eyelid. All my school holidays were just sat sort of gaming, and I had this online world around me. Really, I played with my mates from school, but then I met all these other people and was playing somewhat competitive in
Mm.
gaming, doing tournaments on the weekend and just meeting all these other people. So would log on and have 10, 12 people that wanted to play with me just because I put so much time in and I was really good.
Mm.
And so that was sort of my world for a long time. But sort of as you game and get into that mentality, it's your choices aren't the best. I started to
Yes.
eat, drink a lot of soft drink. That was probably one of the worst things I was doing, like full sugar.
Mm.
And because you're gaming, you don't want to have food or make food, so you're having chicken nuggets and chips and just not going outside and not exercising and just
Yeah,
sitting down.
yeah.
Um,
There's all the
so I guess
layers. There's more
yeah,
layers. Yeah.
it was just one habit turned into another, and they all started to stack on and on. And it was always funny because like I grew up with this. My parents always encouraged us to go out, do sport, whatever we wanted, whatever sport we wanted to play. Nothing. It
Mm.
was it wasn't a no. They would always find time, and my parents would always drop us off and pick us up from sport, and would never say no in that regard.
Mm.
So it's funny. It's like I always knew that I could make the change, and like
Mm.
getting year on year, I was getting heavier and heavier, and sort of it was pretty much over the Christmas holidays, because that was when you'd spend 8 weeks away from school, so you're not having to
Yeah.
go out anywhere or
Just
having to do
smashing it.
anything. So yeah, I could literally just sit there for 8 weeks, and then essentially that just every year just put on a bit more weight, put on a bit more weight, put on a bit more weight, and then it would have been I got to around 16, 17 was when I probably reached my heaviest. Was I think it was I don't know my actual heaviest, because I didn't weigh myself until 2 weeks after the gym, just because I was
Mm,
very self conscious at that point, and I didn't know
for sure.
it would turn into this point. So when after 2 weeks, I stepped on and I was about 131 kilos.
Yeah.
But that was after 2 weeks of
Yeah.
going to the gym 4 times a week and completely changed
Mm,
my diet. But it was funny, like I was saying earlier, is I I had two friends that took me to the gym, because I guess to go back on that, and sorry for jumping around.
no, go for it.
I got to a sort of really low point with sort of mental health and just not wanting to go outside and do anything.
Mm,
Um, I struggled with like depression and was seeing a psychiatrist or psychologist for a bit. And then it was funny. I went there once, and then they said they wanted to prescribe like medication. And then I remember walking out with my mum, and then obviously I put my mum through a lot of stress, my parents a lot of stress at this time.
mm,
Um, and then it all sort of just, I don't know what happened, but it all sort of hit me, and I was like, well, I don't really think I'm sick. I don't want to be taking this medication. And mum was like,
mm.
no, I don't think you need it either. Um, and in the back of my mind, like I was obviously really unhappy with how I looked, and like
Yeah.
growing up, I never wanted to take photos. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I never wanted
Yeah.
to talk to people, or sort of put myself out there. But then it was after that where it just, I don't know, something just clicked. And then I went home, and I was just like, I want to make a change. I want to, do something. And
Mm,
always wanted to go to the gym and, get back into fitness and get back into sport and things like that. And then I had two of my friends, actually, they were going, and I finally, one time they were like, okay, we'll take you. And then I remember I went on a Monday night to it was actually Snap Fitness down in Indooroopilly. It was the
oh,
first gym.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. This was, 10 years ago, and it was insanely busy, and I was insanely scared, but because I was next to them, it was fine.
Mm,
And honestly, after that, it was like a switch, and just everything changed. But I reckon for the first 3 months of training, I never went on my own. I always had to like have
mm.
that person, because I just, once again, it was like when I do something, I want to feel like I'm good at it, and know how to do it. And I was obviously learning a lot. And I
Yes.
had two really good friends that they were probably 4 or 5 years older than me, and they'd been
Mm,
going for a little bit. So they brought me along, showed me the ropes. And then once it hit that 3 month point, and then I did my first like solo session, I guess, going by
mm.
myself, because they always encouraged me. They said, just go by yourself, go by yourself.
Yeah. Just get it done.
Yeah, exactly. And then honestly, once I did that, um, I've been going probably 5, 6 times a week for the past 9 years. And, I've probably had a week off maybe 4 or 5 times. Like
Mm, mm.
never lost consistency with it. Always enjoyed, I guess, starting my day and having that time in my day
Mm.
to put me first, and then work
Yes.
on myself, and then have that discipline there, and then carry that on, I guess, throughout the day. Um,
100%.
so yeah, it's
Mate,
been,
that is great. That, like, it's very rare to hear that you just have and obviously there's learning and there's challenges and all that stuff that came with that journey. But one of the biggest things I think this podcast helps people with, and which I want to dig into, is like, how do I build the consistency? And for
mm,
you, it was linked to a really big pain point. I'm overweight. I feel
mm,
sad. I feel anxious. I've got low confidence, and I'm going to have to be medicated. So the pain is like like right in front of you.
mm,
And obviously with fitness a lot, when I'm trying to help people, I have to sell things to them. So I'm trying to work out what those pains are, because I'm like, I either can help you or I can't help
mm,
you. But if I don't know what the pains are,
mm.
I
Yeah,
can't help you. So
yeah,
you recognized that pain and was like, I'm going to fix it, which is
Mm.
really good.
And there's, like I said, there was always a voice in the back of my mind, like going through this
Mm.
period where it was like, I know I'm not happy, right? Like you look in the mirror, and it's not all about looks and that, but it's, you're not happy. So then you're down, and your mentality's not as good, and not where it needs to be. Like if
Yeah.
this was 10 years ago and you said, "Hey, jump on a podcast," not a chance in the world. There's
No.
no way. I don't care if two people would have listened there. I would have never, put myself out there and exposed myself, I guess, at that point.
Yes.
But in saying that, you learn so much. Like from going through it and being at that point, I now understand where I don't want to go back and get to that
Mm.
point. So I think the consistency is part of, I know what's on the other side if
Mm.
you don't eat right, if you, don't
Yes.
train, or if you don't go for a walk, or if you don't do some movement, and,
Yes.
you isolate yourself. I know what the isolating does, and I know how that plays into your mental health, and how that,
100%.
so
Yeah.
it's, having that to go back on, or understanding where I
Oh, yeah.
was, that is a really big driver, and why I, have been so consistent for so long. And obviously
Totally.
too, it's just, I don't know, there's something about weight training that I will always love and enjoy, and just the journey of, even juggling now with running and sports and that, there'll be times where, marathon running will take over for a bit, and you drop off and you lose a bit of strength, but then, now you can always go and get it back. So it's always,
Yes.
baseline's always been there, and it's, go through stages, and I don't know, it's always fun. And that's why I
Yeah.
sort of too, always trying to look for new events to do, and, sign up to something to really challenge yourself, and put you outside of that comfort zone, and make you change training styles, and just to keep it fresh as well and interesting.
Big time.
If you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's probably going to get a bit boring. So I
Totally agree.
always like
Mate, and you,
to switch it up.
yeah, I agree. You just said something that I want to tap into, because you've made a few comments already that suggest you understand how beneficial it is for our brain to put ourselves in situations that are not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And something that happens a lot with me, particularly with, and this will be very relevant for those of you listening that are like, don't have a coach in your corner, or you've never got help with this stuff, and you're thinking about it, which may be why you're on this channel, and you're thinking, okay, and it's not very different. It can be different with those people that meet me face to face, right? Because they're like, he's standing in the gym, I've paid him, and he's going to be there at 6 a.m. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's waiting for me. But for those people that are in that remote coaching aspect, I'll often get feedback like the first couple of weeks working with someone. Oh, no, I haven't done my training sessions yet because blah, 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 blah. This big list of stuff. And it's all distraction. It's all excuses. Sorry to be frank, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you just have to get in the car, put your shoes on, or put your shoes on, get in the car, drive to the gym, and pick up a dumbbell. Like, there's no other thing that you have to do. And if that's scary, it's like, sorry, you have to do it. You have to go through the reps, right? Just like getting stronger in a bicep curl, or stronger in a bench press. You just have to fail forward, embrace the suck, look like an idiot because you grabbed the wrong thing. Like, you have to go. Like, you did it as a 17-year-old. I've got
Mm-hmm.
adults that are like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, sometimes I'm scared of stuff too. But you got to lean in and do it, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's, yeah, like you said, we've all, like, everyone has excuses, and everyone has a long list of things. But it's funny, if you can have that discipline, just to yourself, to hold yourself to somewhat
Yes.
level of that accountability, you'll
Yes.
find that that list of things that's in your way, you can get through that easier, because now
Yep.
you've set that time for yourself, you've worked on yourself,
Mm,
you're a little bit in a better mental sort of headspace. I don't know.
totally.
For me, I love starting my day off with just training. Whether it could be a run, could be weights, could be a
Mm,
walk. I think pretty much every day I wake up, even on the weekends, even before work, it'll be, some form of, training, or going for a walk, or, just getting outside going seeing someone, socializing, just to
Mm.
have that bit for me. And then, then you can work and deal with all the rest that, life throws with you. But I think starting off that way, it just makes you more mentally clear, and you can get through those tougher situations. And
Yes.
especially with work and, dealing with my job, we deal with, people. I can speak to 20 to 30 different people a day. So if
Mm.
I'm not
Mm.
in the right headspace, those conversations
Yeah.
could go a lot differently, and it could be a bad, sort of client
100%.
experience because I haven't, done the stuff that I've needed for me to put me in the right headspace. And then
Totally,
it's
man.
also those tough conversations that I have to have. If I am in clearer and I'm, in control, and I've done that in the morning,
Mm.
then I know I can handle that easier. Um, and
Yeah,
it's much
man.
smoother conversation. And it's funny. I can tell the difference if I say I skip my alarm, because we all skip our alarms. We always miss days here and there. And I can feel the difference of, going into the office, having not trained or
Mm.
not done something, than just doing that. So I definitely feel the difference. And, some mornings it's tough to get up if you've played basketball at 8 p.m. the night before, but I know I'll be better off the whole day if I do it. Um, so that's,
Totally.
just got to keep yourself.
Where do you see it? That's a good point. Where do you see it? Say you turn up to the office and you haven't trained. Where, like, talk us through that on a deeper layer. Like, do you see it interpersonally? Do you see, is it in your brain? Is it in your habits? Like, where does it show up?
Oh, I guess more habits, and just, I guess, I'm a lot more like quieter and like
Mm.
less energized.
Mm.
I feel like that doing something in the morning really like sparks me, really gets me going, and gives me sort of the energy I need for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So it comes out through, conversations with colleagues or conversations with clients, and just overall like productivity. And I do find it's like health choices as well, where if I haven't trained that morning, then I'm like, oh, who cares? I won't eat the lunch that I've packed. I'm just going to go get a burger or get some chips.
Mm.
And then I do that, and I feel even worse. And then a dinner comes around. Oh, well, I haven't trained today. I've eaten that
100%.
meal, so I might as well just, throw away today and start again tomorrow. So it's
Yeah.
always, it's just small things, and they just build up. But it's funny if I get up, like say I go train, then I'm right headspace, showered, at work, in work early,
Yes.
productive from the outside, bouncing around, saying good morning to everyone,
Yeah.
looking like essentially looking for people to call, looking for those sticky clients at that point. How can I fix it, or can I give them a call to say hello, rather than trying to, avoid it and do a lot more via email. I guess
Mm.
the big thing is,
It's confidence.
and if I haven't trained into, I feel like I do a lot more things over email rather than a
Interesting.
call and then an email. I feel like I sort of try and hide behind the screen, if that makes sense.
Man, that self awareness is so good.
Mm,
And there'll be people that I'm glad you said that. There'll be people I experience the same thing on occasion, and that is so many people would experience that or similar things.
mm,
It's like that
mm,
confidence isn't there, and
mm,
I haven't shown up for myself and looked after myself. So
mm,
I internally know, how can I look after others?
mm. And it comes out like, if I look back on it, it's like, yeah, I'm more likely to, send an email and do something via email rather than just pick up the phone and talk to someone.
Mm.
Not everyone checks their emails, and that, could take 2-3 hours longer. And emails can be interpreted in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
So um, yeah, I think that's a big thing. Even now that I'm talking about it, if I try and think back on it, I'm less likely to go out of my way to talk to people, I think, and you're more just
Mm.
in your own bubble. If I haven't,
That's
done the right
really
thing
interesting.
or eaten right. Um, so it's
Yeah.
funny how it all sort of stacks up, and especially when you do a bit of self reflecting.
Man, I agree. And like a lot of the clients I work with, right, they're chasing a higher performing brain. So it's not just about
Mm,
some people just want an aesthetic outcome. Some people just want to feel better. Some people are trying to avoid long-term health impacts, which probably ties in. But a lot of it is like,
Mm,
how do I think, feel better every day to do this better? And whether that's family or
mm,
business or work, whatever it is.
mm,
And so that's such a good point in that if we're not taking, I think the consistency of sticking to training, getting up on time, eating well, drinking water. If I'm going to get up
mm,
on time, I have to go to bed on time, getting quality
mm,
sleep and quantity sleep, like all those baseline habits, um, that it takes discipline and it takes
mm,
like planning and thinking, and
mm,
that translates into emails and phone calls and
mm.
all the stuff at work, right?
Literally, and because everyone's like, "Oh, if you want to start feel better, what do you do?" And you know, there's obviously that big stigma around sleep and how good sleep is. And I
Mm,
completely agree. But how do you make yourself go to sleep? Right? Well, you get up early. You got to do something. You're going to be tired by it comes to 9, 10
yes,
o'clock. You're less likely to sit there scrolling. Um, you know, so
yes.
that's two easy things you can do. Like if you stay consistent with getting up earlier
Mm,
than you need to, that means you got time to go out and do something for yourself, and then you're going to be less awake at night, so it's going to be easy to sort of fall asleep. Um, yeah.
100%. Man, big time, big time. We just touched on nutrition. I want to find out what Timmy does with nutrition. Because I know you eat well, and
Mm-hmm.
so many people struggle with nutrition. So I guess my
Mm.
first question would be, do you have a bit of a system, or whether it's like a belief system or an operating system or something that's in your head that's like, this is how I structure my meals and this is what I do week to week. Talk us through it.
Mm. Um, I guess I was lucky in the fact that I had a mum that's an amazing cook, and
Awesome.
made us eat everything from day one. So grew up, eating proper meals. We barely had
Yeah.
takeout, but it was just the foundation of you eat veggies, you have a bit of protein, you have the good stuff as well.
Mm.
And so I always tell people this. So I've always had like a really big sweet tooth, and I like love dessert, love dessert. But growing up in our household, it was you had to finish dinner if you wanted dessert. So if you left anything on your plate or any dinner, you weren't allowed to have dessert. So it wouldn't matter what mum made or what was put in front of me, I'd have it so that I could go and have dessert. But I
Mm.
guess over the years of training and implementing different diets and trying keto at one point or no
Mm.
carb or low carb or I think I resonate big with just what they say is eating the rainbow. So
Yep.
every meal I like to have obviously a protein source. That can come from could be protein powder, could be eggs, could be a steak or chicken or fish or something, but it's
Mm.
always a protein source, and then depending on the time of day, at least 2 to 3 different veggies in there, and maybe a carb source, depending. But I'll always cook dinner pretty much every night, and then I'll meal prep my lunches for the week on the weekend. So just to
Mm.
make sure
Mm.
I'm consistent, and I have been at the moment. I've been doing it for a fair bit. Is just playing around with sort of, I guess, intermittent fasting, because I don't really get hungry in the morning. I don't know. There's something I don't know when just getting into work, having a little bit of like hunger. I don't know. I feel like I feel more productive in the mornings and don't feel as sluggish or things like that. So I tend to you know I'll have a bigger lunch, and then dinner is
Mm.
it's funny because
Nice.
a lot of people will do it the opposite. They'll start their day with a really big meal, but obviously I do a bulk of my training in the morning. And I don't want to get even up earlier to eat something. I
Mm.
sort of backload to whereas I start off having less food throughout the day, and then dinner will always be my biggest meal. And obviously you've probably seen a couple of them being posted, but that's sort
Man,
of
I'm similar. I'm similar. My meals get bigger throughout the day. Yeah.
and it's It's more
It's
of
good.
a time point of view, and just I've always just liked the feeling of being a bit, lighter on your feet per se, and
Mm.
because as long as you're eating right and you're getting enough calories in, day to day, week to week, it does stack. So it doesn't really matter when
Yeah.
you
It's just
have.
the emotions that make us snack and overeat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people say, oh, they're going to have the biggest meal in the morning, so then it fuels them for the day. Whereas, I'm a big believer, if you obviously
Mm.
day in day out, you're eating the right things, you're eating enough. It's going to stack.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you have your biggest meal at lunch, dinner, breakfast, as long as it's you're getting enough
As long as
nutrients.
it's in.
It's not going to matter. And like I said, I do a lot of my more intense training in the morning, so I want to feel fueled without having to get up even earlier to eat before I train.
Yeah. Mate, that's good. And I kind of, for myself, this might sound weird, but this is how I perceive it, is if I eat, so I usually have a smoothie and a coffee in the morning. So it's not, it gets me through to lunch, but it's not like a super satisfying
Mm.
big meal. It's just a smoothie and a coffee. But
Mm.
I kind of see it as like, you know, years and years, like, generations ago, we'd have to hunt for food.
Mm.
So we're going into the economy and working, and whether you're in a business or a job, you're going out
Mm.
and working. You're doing something with your energy and your time. And for me, I'm like, if I'm a bit hungry, I was like delayed gratification. Like
Mm.
I'm gonna go work, and I'm gonna work
Mm.
hard, and then I'm gonna have a meal. And
Mm.
then guess what? I'm gonna go work again all afternoon, and then I'm gonna have a meal. So I'm
Mm.
like earning the feeds. It's like
It's
little wins.
that's a good way to put it, because I feel the same. You do your training session in the morning, then I like my first thing is get home, shower, straight to work. Like
Mm,
I want to get in, I want to get in the day. Generally, the first person in the office. I want to start before everyone else starts.
yeah.
And while like my energy's peaked, right? Because I've just trained, I've just done something, so endorphins, everything's flowing. I'm in a good mood,
Mm,
so I want to hone in on that. And then, like you said, that hunger, just leaning on that, and I don't know. I've always been more productive this way. And then, like you said, you have the meal, you go do some more work, and then usually I'll do something in the afternoon because I've just sat down all day, and then
mm,
I'm going crazy. So then I'll go do something in the afternoon, and then get home, and then it's your routine. You've had that
yeah.
meal, you've had a great day, you've worked towards the goals, or you've done something for yourself. You've been at work all day. You work towards something, and then bang, you have that meal at the end of the day.
Totally. Man, how I keep segueing from your last sentences, which is probably why the conversation is flowing well. Routine. How important is that, right? For
Mm.
like keeping in shape, eating well every
Mm.
week. Like, because people do challenges, man, for 4 or 6 weeks. They're like, I'm going to smash it.
Yeah,
I'm going to drop 10 kilos. And
yeah,
then they didn't build any habits. They didn't build any routine. They didn't habit stack, which we were talking about before, which we'll link back to in a
mm.
second. They didn't build a routine. So it's just like stop, start, stop, start.
yeah.
Yeah. How
And then
important is routine for you?
I tell this to a lot of people. I'm like a robot. Like pretty
Same.
much, you ask the day, and I can tell you what I'm going to do on that day. Like,
Yeah.
um, but in that, it's like I'm lucky where I have a lot of you meet a lot of people that are similar, and
Mm,
you sort of build a small circle around you, and they're the people you want to go see. And a
mm,
lot of the things I do with friends. A lot of the running things, like I said, signing up for the events, I always have friends, and it's just another way to socialize. But I'm the type of person where I want to wake up, and I want to know what today is going to bring. I want to know what I have on, and what I'm going to work towards, and what I'm going to do.
mm.
And that's what gets me out of bed. And like I said, everything I do, I enjoy, and I do a lot with friends and a lot of socializing too, in those habits and in those routines.
Mm.
Um, so for me, I'm such a routine person, and any changes or anything like that, like I was sick 2 days last week and spent 2 days on the couch, and I was going crazy by the end of it. Like I just, I wanted to get out, hated it,
Mm.
was ready to run up the walls. So just because I missed out on 2 days of, getting to the gym or getting into work and, getting outside, something like that.
Yeah, big time, mate. Routine's so important. And I think it's really important with health and fitness because if you have a solid routine, you know what like the basic things are every week. For example, and I try and teach these simple things to my clients. So it's like embeds in their brain. It's like you don't need a 1,000-step process to get in shape. You don't
Mm.
need a 1,000-step process or like wake up at 3:55, do 16 push-ups, drink 8 liters of water, cold bath, sauna, blah, 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 meditate. It's like find some simple metrics that work for you that you can do on repeat and do them every day, every week, every month,
Mhm.
every quarter, every year. And
And
you will, yeah.
it's like funny you say that. It's like it doesn't have to be, because the gym's not for everyone, right? It doesn't have to be the gym.
No,
It doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be any sport or that. It can be simple as just going for a walk. Like just finding something that
100%.
gets you outside or gets you opportunity to do it with other people or socialize with other people.
Yes.
And then it's not going to be a chore. You're going to want to build that into your team, whatever you find, whatever it may be.
Yes.
You're going to want to go, oh, okay, I'm going to get up an hour early so I can go for this run, or I can go do Pilates, or I can go, to the
100%.
gym, and I can fit that in because I enjoy that, and that's going to make me feel better. And if I feel better, then I'm going to be a better friend, a better colleague, a better person to be around.
Big time.
So it sort of transponds, and it's funny that it's finding what you enjoy. I
Yeah,
guess it's
man. And that's the biggest thing. You have to like the new way better than the old way. That's what I think. You have to
Mm,
if I find a new fitness routine, I've got to like it better than what I was doing. You obviously
yeah,
like going to Snap Fitness in Rapilli more than you like the feeling of playing games. So you
yeah,
kept doing it.
hmm
And if you didn't, you wouldn't have kept doing it. And I'm
exactly.
sure your training's evolved over time because you don't like it. What's happening here? I'm not enjoying it. I'm not getting progress. I'm not getting results. I have to change. I have
Mm-hmm.
to pivot and try something different. Oh, that's
Mm,
cool. I want to try a marathon, do high rocks competition. Like
yeah,
adding layers of complexity and challenge. Yeah,
mm. And it's always just that changing it up to find the challenge, because that ultimately that's what I love. I love being outside of my comfort zone, being in
yeah,
those uncomfortable situations, because that's when I guess you learn the most about yourself, or you can overcome that, or you can be disciplined to achieve this goal. Like I love having goals there to set out and then to achieve. To know that
mm,
if I do say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to go in my power and sort of work towards that and achieve that.
yeah,
So I know I really like being challenged and being pushed and getting out of my
for
comfort
sure.
zone now.
Yeah, yeah, now, yeah,
Now,
and it's
yeah.
it's taking that practical. Like, okay, I was talking about gaming the other day to someone who is a gamer who's trying to change their habits, and we were talking about how in the game, like in a game, you have outcomes, you have things to collect, whether it's tokens or money or kills or whatever, and you're racking up all these things, and it's this dopamine effect. It's like win, 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 stack, 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 stack. Whether it's like cash or points or like it's status, it's reward,
Mm,
but the outcome in the game is high, but the outcome for you personally and long term, personally and professionally, is apart from a small percentage of the world who might play for money and win,
yeah.
is nothing.
Mm,
Absolutely nothing. It gives you nothing.
mm.
But the
Yeah.
outcome of getting in shape and staying in shape mentally and physically, because I think that they're two separate things, but they go hand in
Mm,
hand. The
mm,
rewards are massive. The
mm.
rewards are
That's
huge.
I like the way you put that. It's like, yeah, when you're in, because I was a big Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty.
Same, dude.
It was oh mate, Black Ops 2 was the best game ever. If they ever remade that, I'd be in trouble. So let's
Yep.
not do that. But no, like you said, like all that time and effort I put into the gaming, like didn't mean anything. You know,
Mm.
it's I spent X amount of money on the games, X amount of time, and built all these bad habits, but
Yep.
I've got nothing to show for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas, I look back on the fitness journey I've done. Like I said, done a marathon now, completely changed the way I look, and done all these, Spartans, Tough Mudders, all
Mm.
all have completed those, and have medals or whatnot to show for that.
Yeah.
And then it's translated into business, and then business is good. I've secured 2 properties now, just from being in the right mind space, and
Yeah.
not too many people can say that. So
Yeah, man. They're tangible outcomes that serve you, your
mm,
legacy, future family, like all those things. There's a huge
mm,
impact, which
mm.
is rad. Yeah, mate. With Xbox, do you still game?
No,
Do you game at
I
all?
can't. I
Nah.
couldn't. I tried to get back into it probably when I was like 21. I bought another
Yep.
like console. My mates, it would have been COVID, and all my mates were playing 2K.
Mm.
So 21, 22, and still couldn't do it. Couldn't just sit there and just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just I've done my dash. I think I've played all the games I could, and
Yeah.
I was like, what
Man,
else? What
I
else?
went cold turkey as well. I remember so clearly. I finished school at 17. Before I started doing policing, I did 3 years of pest control in
Mhm.
Ipswich, where I used to live. And while I was doing that, I was a mad gamer, like before, like in high school, and then not all the time. Played sport, did music,
Yeah.
played the drums, but I would game hard. And so Call of Duty. And I remember one day I woke up late for work, and I think it was the second time. And my boss, if he ever listens to this, Darren, thank you for your lessons. Darren Smith's his name. He's a legend. And shout out if you're around Ipswich, Aussie Pest Control, legend, OZZIE. Anyway, so I rocked up late. I've got this, it's not a full clear memory, but I remember gaming. I was gaming a lot with a mate, and he would come over, we'd stay, we'd drink, sugary drinks and bloody play all like 2, 3 a.m., right? I rocked up late, and I just remember him saying something like words to the effect of, pretty much, don't be late again. If it happens, you're done.
Yeah. See you later.
And it was something pretty harsh. And I was like, shit. And I remember I was either 18 or 19. And I remember thinking, I just had this like really clear moment where I was like, this is not giving me anything at all. And I'd
Mm.
recently got like my first car loan and things like that. So I was like, if I don't have my job, what am I going to do? And
Mm.
so I was like, I remember thinking, this is an absolute waste of time. So I sold it, and I never had one since. So it
Mm.
was just like,
It's
see ya.
we all have that moment, I guess, and it's always just that
Yeah.
something clicks, and it was obviously your boss being like, you're going to be gone, and you're going to have a new job, or
Yeah.
try and find a new job, and obviously,
Yeah.
at that age, you're like, what skills do I have, and I guess the penny
Yeah.
dropped at that point, and you're like, what
Yeah.
is it worth? You know, why am I putting so much time here? It's affecting other
Yeah.
avenues in my life, so.
And
It's
now you'd agree, and no offense to anyone who's a gamer, but
mm,
a slight, poke in the chest, so to speak, if you are, because I suggest changing your habits because they're not great. But
mm,
my point is, um, it's like there's a time for doing those things, and it's like anything. If I want to drink some alcohol, I'll have a little bit, but I won't do it
mm,
all the time, and I won't do it too much.
mm,
And it's like those habits that aren't super beneficial for you. I think it's important to have a gauge or have a
mm.
cap and have some self control around it.
Yeah, it's that balance, right?
Mm.
You've got to, as much as the good do, you've got to have that bad, or you've got to have that little outlet. But it's got to be, the outlet is something that you've got to be able to control. And it's say if I went back to gaming, it could be we could go completely opposite. So I've never tried and never done that,
Mm.
or I just have no interest for it now. But it's, yeah, you've, like you said, like especially with the alcohol, like don't get me wrong, I drink, and I enjoy myself, and I had a very big sort of November and December just with work and commitments and everything like that. But
Mm.
came in January and was like, I don't want to drink for a bit. So it's
Yeah,
been over a month now, and haven't missed it. And it's not, I'm not going to drink for this amount of days. It's just until I want to,
for
until I
sure.
feel the need to, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so cool, mate. Talk to us about, or talk to me, us, talk
Mm,
to us, the audience, about. I really want to understand, and for you to answer this question, and for anyone listening, not a place of judgment, right, for others, but just a place of my whole career was all about observing behavior, observing what people are doing, monitoring what they're doing, and understanding their behaviors and going, what are they going to do next? How can I prevent that? What did they do leading up to this point to prevent this crime, whatever it was? So from an observational perspective, I just wanted to clear that up so it didn't sound judgy, because I don't want this podcast to be that. But people around you, whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life, that don't have these habits, that don't have, because this will link to someone listening for sure, that don't have any plans or any structure around just going for walks, getting a bit of cardio in, weights training, and eating well, just eating whole foods. The opposite behaviors, the couch potatoes, the people that aren't in shape, that are carrying too much body fat, that eat, take away all the time. What do you observe about them that could be improved
I think it's
in their personal and professional life?
I think it's a big thing would be how they handle like small little obstacles, I want to say.
That is a
Or
great answer.
to
Yes.
them, it could be a really big obstacle because they're not in the right headspace and they're not in the right frame to overcome it. And I've seen it, people I work with and, friends and that handling different situations where,
Yeah.
something can happen to them
Mm.
and it throws off their week or their whole day, or puts them in a bad mood for the rest of the day or the week or something. And it's something that if you had all good habits and you were in the right sort of mindset,
Mm.
it's something to easily overcome.
Yes.
So I guess that would be what I'd say.
Mate, that's a cracker
Just
response.
being
That
able
wasn't rehearsed, by the
to
way.
handle those.
Yeah.
How they respond, I guess, to just situations in
Yeah.
general. Um,
Man,
so I
I
think,
agree. The little things seem bigger,
mm,
right? Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a mixture between, and this is just my opinion, which I'm happy to be wrong, but a mixture between your brain not operating as optimally as it could, your body not feeling good, like whether it's niggles or it's hard to walk around or get up off a chair, or all those things there's complexities to just moving your body and your body keeping itself running, right? It's there's more to carry around. It's not in its optimal composition. So everything's just a bit harder. So then you add difficulty professionally and personally, and it's like everything's starting to stack up now. I've got enough to deal with. Now I've got all this other
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like if you're not feeling your body right and you're at a
Mm,
higher body composite, for you just to get out of bed is going to be a lot harder than someone that is doing the right things. So you're already, a foot behind. So when you
yeah.
get, we all get thrown curveballs and things happen. So, then you throw a couple of those, you're already,
Mm,
2, 3 steps behind. So
yeah.
no wonder it's harder to handle and it's harder to get through those obstacles because you're
Mm,
already putting yourself behind in the field, really.
yeah. I agree, man. I agree. And the benefits, I think, of the effort, like if we added up three training sessions, a bit of walking, but you're eating anyway. So it's just
Mm,
eating differently often for people. It's not about eating more or
mm,
less. For some people it's eating less, but you're already
mm,
spending that time. So it's just about repositioning. But if you add up the
mm,
collective time in 168 hours in each week, which is 24 times 7,
mm,
you don't have to spend a lot of time on this stuff. In my opinion, you don't. You really don't. It's probably a few hours extra time spent than what you're already doing. So
mm,
that's, it's not a big ask to
mm.
just get to start making positive momentum.
Mm. And it's funny when you touched on the eating. Like
Mm,
I would have been, I would eat nearly 1.5 to 2 times on a day. So depending on like if I'm going for a long run, etc.
mm,
I would eat way like 1.5 times to 2 times more than when I was 135 kilos,
yep.
just because of what I was eating.
Yep.
as well. Obviously, the expenditure has increased, but just obviously sitting still all day and
Mm.
doing nothing and eating high processed foods that have
Yep.
no thermogenic effect and things like that. So
Yes.
it's funny that it's not needing any more or less. It's just changing, just swapping this for that. It's going to make me
Yep.
feel better. It's going to feel me better. It's not giving up. It's a choice at the end.
Whole foods and meats, like they're more satisfying, and you get way more bang for buck as far as volume goes. Like you can take more
Mm,
mouthfuls, eat more meals, and still eat
mm,
less calorically. Yeah.
mm,
Dude,
mm,
yesterday, as an example, I did a pod last week with someone, and we were talking about eating cashews and almonds and how they stack up really quickly. And I
mm.
got like, I just wanted to check my in-brain science about how much they were, and we had some macadamias in the cupboard,
Mm.
and I filled up this little, like, it's a bowl that I would put like tamari sauce in to dip sushi in.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's a small little bowl, right?
yeah.
Not big, like a
Mm,
snack bowl. And I put some almonds in there and weighed it out 100 grams. Sorry, some macadamias, 100 grams.
yeah.
And I put it in my hand, and it would be maybe just a bit more of the amount than if I like grabbed them with a handful and went and sat back at my computer desk. So all I mean is there was I wouldn't get that as a snack, but it wasn't a full handful.
Mm,
So if I did like 1.5 snack mouthfuls, it was just under 800 calories.
mm.
just
It's
just
crazy.
in my hand, right? And
Mm,
like for reference, that's probably a grilled burger with extra
mm.
bacon and a
Yeah,
chips and aioli.
yep.
Like,
It's a full meal. Like 800. That's a substantial meal. Like it's
yes,
crazy. And everyone like the stigma around. Oh, it's healthy, so it's not. It's not
yep,
going to do damage. It's just understanding. Like it's they're nuts that like there's so many antioxidants and good things about them, and they definitely should be included in your diet. But you should
yes,
also know the damage you can do as well. So
mm.
it's all about you know the information and going and doing that. And I think
learning a bit about what you're eating.
yeah, exactly. And I did the old. I was proper like when I first started training, like full bro, like bulk cut, like do that for a couple of years, and I counted calories for a little bit, but I'm glad I did just to get a baseline understanding
Mm.
of I know what 300 grams of rice is, or I know what so 300 calories of rice is, and 300 calories of this, or and have
Totally.
that sort of baseline. But a lot of people can get very obsessive with it, and it has to be, and if they don't hit it, then they go off the wagon, sort of thing.
Mm.
So I'm not saying that everyone should count calories, but I think everyone should have a baseline understanding about nutrition and
Yeah,
foods that are labeled healthy and unhealthy,
100%.
because there's a
Man,
lot
I
of
agree.
stigma around that at the moment.
Big time. Mate, I often get people to go through the process of, you can lose weight or gain weight without tracking calories if you're listening. But if you go through the process of like using an app and tracking your food, which I do encourage, is you're not just doing it to satisfy each day. You're doing it to understand, this is how I build my 3 or 4 meals across the day to hit this target. And I'm
Mm,
learning to eyeball the food. So I don't
mm,
have to weigh food and measure it in Fitness Pal for the rest of my life. I could do that for a week, a month, a year, but then
mm.
I know that, like, I know that a whole chicken breast is a bit too much for me to eat. I don't actually need that much. I don't need a whole
Mm,
chicken breast. I probably have like 3/4 of it, and I'm still going
mm.
to get 50 odd grams of protein, which is
Yeah,
heaps.
yeah, which is a bit crazy, especially for a meal. But you're also doing that. You're also going to pick up on the macadamias, right? We all have these foods that are that we have. Oh, this much can't hurt. But then we're going to find out what is actually harming and what's not. And then
Mm,
you might take a second glance when you go, oh, I might just have that, and you go, oh, do I want to? Because now you understand if you have
yes,
that, what does that mean, sort of thing. So
yeah, I agree, for sure. That's great. Mate, we've almost been talking for an hour. Can you believe that?
yeah,
That's unbelievable.
it's flown.
Um, I'm going to, in the interest of listeners and their attention spans, I'm going to wrap us up. But covering off, do you have any closing comments, or like if someone was listening to this who is like, yeah, John and Tim, that sounds great, but I just don't really, I'm just not convinced that I should start training. Someone that isn't training, isn't eating well, completely off the wagon. What advice? What would you say if you had 30 seconds to say, this is what I reckon? A word of encouragement.
The elevator pitch. I think it would be try it for a week, see how you feel. Like, you're hearing to us say it, but put a couple practices in. Whether if it's you change a meal for a week, or you eat healthy for 2 days of the 5 days. See how you feel those 2 days, and then you might want to continue stacking in, or put 2 walks in a week. You don't have to change everything overnight. It's start with something small. Start with a walk a week, or a training session a week, or eating good for a day or 2 days. See how your body reacts. See how you feel, and then I think a lot of people, if they did that and held themselves accountable, they would then, like we do, just stack
Yeah.
on top of stack, and have it more. And then it's now I'm only having one cheat day a week instead of one healthy eating day a week, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Big time.
Start small. You don't have to change the world overnight. See how your body reacts, and then go from there.
I love that. That is great. That's Ripper. Mate, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you giving up your time on this Wednesday Arvo.
It was awesome. I appreciate the offer, and yeah, hopefully we didn't ramble on too much, and there's some good information there. Someone can take from it.
Mate, there's plenty of lessons. If you're still listening, you haven't learned a lesson, go start it again, because there's loads of value in there. There honestly is, man. I really appreciate you sharing, because there's people that listen that I know need to pull the trigger and just get into it and start looking after themselves that aren't. And there's so many, like what you just said at the end, where it's like, just start small, just do one thing. That'll lead to so many more. So awesome, bro. Thanks heaps, man.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, dude.